What is Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of What is History. Tonight's video is titled What is a Historian's Job? Historians are telling a story. They have to write facts, they have to look for patterns, they have to try to understand why things happen. They look at how events connect to each other and other experiences. Their job is to fill in the blanks about missing point of views. Yes, JB.
Hey, Mr. Boyd, I like to do fill in the blank puzzles.
Okay, JB, but that's not what we're talking about. They make sense of events that show our triumphs and failures. They must keep. Yes, JB, I see your hand. What do you want? Hey, Mr. Boyd, I was told I must keep out of everyone else's business. Well, that's good advice, JB, but that's not what we're talking about either. Okay? Historians must keep learning. They must keep asking questions. They must keep digging for the truth. They must keep deciding if something is true by looking at several sources. Okay? So there are sources that we need to understand where things are coming from. So what is a source? And a source is anything that provides historians with information about a certain event or time period. There are two kinds of sources. These are both vocabulary words, and you need to add these to your notes. A primary source is things people wrote or made during the time period being studied. A primary source is the most direct link to the past. It is the eyes of people who were actually there. Yes, JB.
Hey, Mr. Boyd, that's one of my favorite video games. I like the Link to the Past. You run around with that sword as Link and you fight those monsters trying to save Zelda from Ganon.
One of my favorites as well, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. Okay? A second vocabulary word for tonight is a secondary source. And a secondary source are articles, books, videos, and websites created by people who have studied the time period later but were not there. Our video that you are watching right now is a secondary source. Okay? Mr. Boyd is old, but he's not that old that he would be a primary source. Okay? Oral histories are important. Many cultures pass down history by memorizing it, saying it out loud to others in poems or songs. An example of that is West African countries, respected members of society, and this is another vocabulary word. These respected members of society were called griots. They were community historians and they used poetry, song, and music to pass down stories and historical accounts. Yes, JB?
Hey, Mr. Boyd, so does that mean that Taylor Swift is a griot?
I guess you could say that, JB. She does tell stories in her songs. Okay? And before we move on, we have to look at some of these sources. Okay? There are lots of different primary sources, and if you look on the screen, you're going to see a list of those primary and secondary sources that you can list in your notes tonight. Okay? You can pause the video and take a look at those and add those to your notes. There are a lot of other subjects that intersect with history, and you're going to see that on the screen in just a minute. Things like geography, art, music, dance, and literature, religion, science and technology, and architecture and engineering all intersect with history. And on the screen, you should see the list there that shows these things and tells you a little bit about those. So if you'll take a look at that and read that and jot down any notes you see that are important to go in your notebook. Remember that as you are watching this, you can pause it, you can rewind it, you can go back to it, and copy anything you think is important. And know that if I pop it up on the screen or I write it across the bottom, it's something that you need to know and you need to add to your notes. I hope this video has been beneficial to you guys, and I can't wait to hear your discussion in the morning as we talk about what is a historian's job.